capital punishment, or the way the government uses vengeance and calls it justice. Capital punishment, or the death penalty that most of us know it as, is defined by Britannica.com by the execution of an offender sentenced to death after a conviction by a court of law for a criminal offense. Some of these offenses are murder, high-level drug trafficking, treason, or espionage. It comes into question, is capital punishment morally justifiable? I cannot think of a way how it could be, because it's the government taking the scales of justice and putting them in their own hand, and on this side they decide if you die or you don't die. Who gave them this power, and why should they have it over us? Capital punishment has caused over 14,000 people to be legally executed. Capital punishment has been around since colonial times. We have people who used to be killed by a guillotine, people who used to be hanged, and it's like, since we come into 2021, you would think that things like this would not be around anymore. But it's still states who have it legal that you could be executed by hanging, or you could be executed by a firing squad. You could have to be stood in front of these people and they could shoot at you. And we feel that this is a justifiable punishment for you committing a crime. The death penalty claims innocent lives. Since 1973, 138 people have been released from death row due to them being wrongfully convicted. Just think if those 138 people have got killed and we find out that they were wrongly convicted. We cannot revoke that. We cannot bring them back. No. And what if we find the person who really committed that crime? Do we kill them too? Is that the things that we want to do with our justice system? The capital punishment has been found to be racist and classist. As of December 16th, 2020, there are 2,591 people on death row, with 1,034 of these inmates being black. This information comes from CNN.com. And according to ACLU.org, the death penalty is racially biased. Since 1977, the overwhelming majority of death row defendants, 77% to be exact, have been executed all because their victims were white. Even though it is shown that most victims of homicide, the majority, are African American. But it is proven that if you kill a person who is of non-color, you will get the death penalty. How is this justifiable? If you're going to do this, then make it fair. Almost all death row inmates could not afford their own attorney at trial. Local politics, the location of the crime, plea bargaining, and pure chance affect the process and makes it a lottery of who lives or dies. According to deathpenaltyinfo.org, since the U.S. Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976, 80% of all executions have taken place in the South, 37% in Texas alone. Cruel and unusual punishment. In 2006, listen to the story. In 2006, it took the Florida Department of Corrections 34 minutes to execute an inmate named Angel Diaz by way of lethal injection. Usually, it's a 15-minute procedure. During the execution, Diaz appeared to be in pain and gasped for air for more than 11 minutes. He was given a rare second dose of lethal chemicals after the execution team observed that the first round did not kill him. A medical examiner reported the second dose was needed because the needles were incorrectly inserted through his veins and into the flesh in his arm. Not only did Diaz die a slow and excruciating death because the drugs were not delivered into his veins properly, his autopsy revealed that he suffered 12-inch chemical burns in his arms, by the highly concentrated drugs, according to ACLU.org. That sounds heinous to me. There are counter arguments. Most people argue that a death penalty will cost less than an inmate being given a life sentence. But according to an article on SupremeCourt.gov, in December of 2016, they found that enforcing the death penalty just in the state of Florida alone costs $51 million more a year than it will cost to keep a prisoner incarcerated during a life sentence. Another argument is that the death penalty deters crime. This has never been proven. Even states with the death penalty or without the death penalty have not shown a significant decrease in crime. We cannot punish criminals with the same thing that they imposed on their victims. We do not rape rapists or rob burglars or set the houses of arsonists on fire. So why do we feel like it's okay that we kill murderers? We have to find alternative ways to punish these people, like life in prison or life without parole. Just think, is this a morally justifiable thing that we do?